Hello, hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Garrett Baker, your brother in arms, and welcome to another episode of The Tactical Businessman. Today's topic, consumption. Not consumption of what you might think, but consumption of information. I want to tell you a story. When I was working as a police officer, one of the things that I'd always wanted to do was work undercover. Don't ask me why, but I always thought it would be so cool to grow my hair out, grow a bunch of facial hair, and play pretend. Like pretend I was a bad guy. Now, I wasn't the squeaky clean kid growing up, but I never stole a car. I never sold drugs, those kind of things. But I was like, what drives a person to want to do something like this? I want to try this out. So eventually I got onto an undercover unit, and one of the first things that I was tasked to do was to set up a low-level drug transaction, i.e. buy some drugs and build a case from there. So I reached out to some people. We'll call them confidential informants. That's a different conversation to have. But basically people who had gotten in trouble with the cops and were willing to exchange information with them so that their punishment was reduced. I reached out to a kid that I knew, and he said, hey, I can hook you up with this one guy, and he's selling some meth. I was like, okay, well, let's do this. So he sets me up with this guy. I proceed to have a text message conversation with him. And during this text message conversation, I try and learn as much as I can about him, i.e. his identity, because the more that I know, the more I can control the situation, right? The less unknowns there are, the more in favor I am, the more of an advantage I'm at. And so I'm asking him, hey, what's your name? How much? We're having this conversation back and forth, and I'm taking what I have, which is a first name, which I don't know if it's real or not, plus his phone number, putting it through a couple databases, trying to figure out who this guy is, this drug dealer. And we end up agreeing to meet later that afternoon to buy, $40 worth of meth, basically. And after I'm done with the conversation, I'm going through these databases. There's like 5 or 6 of them. I'm digging. I'm trying to find this and trying to find that. And maybe this is the guy, but I'm not sure. But it could be this guy, but it might possibly be this guy. And I literally spent 4 hours trying to figure out who this guy was. And finally, one of the senior detectives literally slapped me on the head and was like, hey. I was like, what? And he told me, it doesn't matter how much research that you do in front of that computer, you still got to go out and do the drug deal. And he laughed and walked away. And I was like, what? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And then I started thinking about it. What I was doing was getting stuck in this loop of wanting more information. Like, it's the cosmic loop of consumption. And I had to get out of it. I knew, like, it didn't matter how much information I knew or didn't know about this guy. Eventually, I was going to have to go buy drugs from him. So I took what I had and I shared it with my squad mates when we had our briefing. And then I actually went out and did the drug investigation. Well, from that, we were able to get a license plate and get more information and positively identify who this guy was, eventually arrest him, and on I went. But I learned a very powerful lesson there in my first experience in the undercover world, my first drug transaction. And that was, it didn't matter how much information I had if I didn't actually do something with it. Like, I could know who this guy's grandmother was. I could know his entire criminal history. I could know who his first girlfriend was. Like, I could know all this stuff. But what good was knowing the information if I didn't actually do something with it? Now, I want you to think about you in your life right now. Where is it that you are stuck in this cosmic loop of consumption? Consumption of information. Like, let's talk about your business right now. Whatever you do, if you're an entrepreneur, you're an intrapreneur, you're building something, like whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Where have you been stuck in this cosmic loop of consuming information? Like, you sit there, you need to fix your marketing. So what do? You go watch a marketing video, and then you go watch another one, and then you download a marketing ebook, and then you go to a marketing course, and then you find a guy that does marketing, and you start asking him questions. And then like, it's just like marketing after marketing after marketing after marketing. And eventually it's 3 months down the road and your marketing isn't any better and you're losing more money than you were before. And you're like, why is this happening? I did all this studying on marketing. Well, that's because you didn't do anything with the information that you had. Like, think about how it is that you get better in life. How do you get better at doing anything in life? It's not by consuming information. It's about doing something with the information that you have. Think about when you were learning to ride a bike. How much did you actually know about riding a bike? Most of us, not much, myself included. Like my older sister knew how to ride a bike, but I had no idea. And so I'm trying to ask her, like, how do you ride a bike? Well, she was like 4 and I was 3. What is she going to tell me? Well, you put your feet here and then you grab the handlebars and then you pedal really fast. I'm like, how do I do that? Right? And so you get to this point where you're like frozen. I just need more information, more information, more information. And you get stuck in this cycle, right? Now, ask yourself, why is it that this happens? Because I had to ask myself the same question. We have a brain inside of our brain. We call it the croc brain, the primitive brain, and I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but I don't remember what it's called. But we have a primitive brain, and a primitive brain inside of our brain is in charge of doing one thing and one thing only, and that's keeping us alive, right? And so when something comes in, something new, we think about this as being a threat. We think about this as being something that we should run from, something that we should hide from, something that we should mate with. Yep, mate with. Like, what should we do with this threat? Because it's an unknown. And a lot of us freeze there and think, well, I need more information before I figure out what I'm going to do with it. But more information doesn't actually put you in a place to do anything more. It just gives you more information. Like, how many of you can relate to this? How many of you can relate to trying to learn something new, but you spend so much time trying to learn it through consumption of information that you don't actually get any better at it? Like, it could be something silly like shooting free throws. Yep, shooting free throws. Or it could be sales, or it could be systems, or it could be marketing. Hell, it could be your marriage. Yes, that's right. And I fell into this too. When I was having marital problems, I got stuck in this, like, I got to find more information. So I went to church to try and find information. Oh, yeah, that's good. And I got a book, and I'd underline and highlight, and I'd take notes. And then I went to this company called Landmark. And from there, I learned more about, marriage and communication in marriage and what to do when you're fighting and this, that, and oh, yeah, this is good information. Write it down. And so I kept going to these places, marriage counseling, and like all of these different people who were more than willing to give me information, but I wasn't doing anything with the information. So many of us are stuck in, it's basically a hand job. Like, you're pretending to do something with it. Like, what is a hand job? That's you pretending to have sex without actually having sex. A hand job is not sex. Yet here you are stroking yourself thinking that you're having sex. No, you're not. This is cosmic loop, this consumption of information. You're just stuck in the consumption phase. And the consumption phase is not going to save you. Like, in order for you to be successful at business, at marriage, with your body, or anything else, it requires you to do one thing and one thing only, and that's take action. Like, you need to swim to the other side of the pool. You can study the water. You can study the temperature. You can study strokes, but it doesn't matter how much you study. Eventually, you're going to have to get your ass in the water and swim across the pool. You want your relationship to get better? You got to swim across the pool. Like, you want your body to get better? You got to swim across the pool. You want to make more money? You got to swim across the pool. There are no shortcuts to this, right? Consuming more information is not going to get it done for you. If you get on social media nowadays, I love it. Now, don't get me wrong, because I do some advertising, marketing on social media as well. But you get inundated with people trying to give you a shortcut, trying to tell you how to do things, trying to tell you what this is the missing piece. You know what I've learned over the last couple of years? I am the missing piece. Like, the only way that I get better at marketing is by actually marketing and learning from my experiences, from my mistakes. The only way I get better at communicating with my wife in marriage is communicating with her and figuring out what works and what doesn't. The only way that I get stronger physically is trying things with my diet, with my exercise, finding what works and what doesn't. Like, there is no secret to it. But consuming more information will not get it done for you. So I want you to ask yourself right now, yes, you, I know you're listening. Ask yourself, where is it in your life that you've been stuck in this cosmic loop of consumption? This cosmic loop of doing nothing but feeding your brain more information. And all it's doing is paralyzing you. All it's doing is keeping you from actually doing what needs to get done. Here's the crazy thing, like, you're not alone. And I tell you this because I've experienced it. And so has every other man and woman and child in this great nation and world of ours. We all get stuck here. So how is it that you get unstuck? Right? Because we could sit here and say, don't get stuck. Okay, well, I'm stuck. What do I do? How do we get unstuck? Well, there's a couple different things that you can do. One, take what it is that you have, whatever it is, however much or little information that you have, and you have to distill it down to what? To action steps that you can take. Now, you're not going to be able to take them all. Like, if you've been struggling with your marriage for 10 years and you've gone to 10 different marriage counselors and you've gone to church and you've gone to courses and you've done all these things, you're going to have a plethora of information. You're going to have an overload of information. So just pick one. Pick one and do it. And then after a period of time, you're going to figure out this worked, this didn't. I'm going to take what worked, and now I'm going to go look at this next thing and add to what it is that worked and see what I come up with. Like, businessmen always get stuck in this. They think that marketing has to happen one specific way. Like, I have to target this specific market with this specific message this many times, and then it's going to work. And they end up spending 5, 10, 15, 20,000 or more dollars in advertising and not converting anything. And then what? And then they're like, oh, well, maybe if I just put more money in it. No, more money is not your issue. Your issue is you're not looking at what's actually happening. Same thing with your body. Like, when you're struggling with your body, there's a reason you're struggling with your body. You don't need to go read more books. You need to figure out your body first and then specific action steps that you can take. See, the cheat code to life, you want to know the cheat code to life, is actually doing it. And then afterwards saying what worked and what didn't. So I challenge each of you in your life right now. I challenge you. I know you're listening right now, probably laughing, but you're probably getting a little hot under the collar right now. Because why? Because you're getting exposed. Take whatever it is that you have and just go and do it. Just go and try it out. It may work. Odds are it won't. But take what it is that you learned and then start adding to it. Tweak it. Improve it. Modify it. When you think of any person who's ever tried anything in life, they didn't get it right the first time. Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb. Somebody asked him one time, I may not be getting the story exactly correct, but you'll get the gist of it. Somebody asked him one time, like, you failed 10,000 times trying to discover the light bulb. And he said, no, I haven't failed 10,000 times. I found 10,000 times, 10,000 times, or 10,000 ways it didn't work. So he didn't fail 10,000 times. He found 10,000 ways it didn't work. But how did he find the way that worked? Oh, I don't know. He took action. So today, don't delay. Today, whatever the one thing is that you're struggling with the most, your marriage, your body, your business, whatever it is specifically, quit getting stuck in the cosmic loop of consumption and just start taking action. It's 2019. Most people will get stuck in this cosmic loop of consumption. I need to learn more about this specific thing before I can fix my body. I need to learn more about this specific technique before I can increase my advertising. I need to learn more about this specific tactic before I can fix my marriage. No, just go. Go. Take action. That's what it's all about. See, I talk about this concept of winning the daily war. You don't win the daily war by hanging out on the sidelines. You have to get on the battlefield. You have to go fight. You're not fighting for me. you're fighting for you. So let's go to war. All right, that is all I have for you today. As always, I want you guys to take action in your life. So pick that one thing today and go after it. All right, each of you today, stay safe. And we'll see you guys on the next one.